Hey, Grand Ascension. I hope you guys can hear me okay. Um, I'm back. I'm going to do a short reading, and it's going to be very, very short. I've got a couple things lined up over the weekend. I want to get back into the Book of Enoch by Claudio Nocelli, the Terra Infinita, and the Celestial Lands. We're going to get back into this because I want to wrap this up. And then I'm going to also share my screen again and go through the actual Book of Enoch, which, if you have the Ethiopian Bible, you can follow along from there. But I am going to pull up my laptop and share my screen. The reason why I'm doing this live this late at night, because I know a lot of people are going to be not up and watching, and I don't want this content to be construed. I actually am just going to read the introduction to this book that I have. It is very graphic, and it's eye-opening. And I really, really can't stress enough that for those of you who actually read and research and understand what this is and what this place represents, I highly recommend you purchase this book by Kurt Barker. It's called Cannibalism, Blood Drinking, and the High Adept Satanism. It's this book right here. This is his third book. I'm going to hold it up so you can take a screenshot. It is his third book, and it is very disturbing. But people need to understand, they need to understand what's going on at the very top. This is the reason why the Epstein files, there has been no convictions behind the Epstein files. It's not going to be. It's because everybody's in cahoots. And I'm just going to read this introduction to you, and then I'm going to jump off of here. And then hopefully in the next few hours, I'll come back, read over Enoch, Terra Infinita, and then we'll get back into the actual Book of Enoch. Okay. So it says introduction by the author. So this, let me read. He says, I am a Christian, yet I think that both Satanists and Christians will find this book to be of interest, as will those who believe in other philosophies. Only the faint-hearted should avoid reading on. This book's only purpose is to shine a light in darkness. I'm simply going to share information and tell you stories. I'm unconcerned whether you believe these stories to be fiction or nonfiction. These stories reveal truths, and you can decide for yourself whether you believe these truths to be satirical, metaphors, or literal descriptions of real world events. Okay. Nevertheless, it has been said that truth is stranger than fiction, and I assure you that these are perhaps the strangest stories you will ever be told. It isn't my job to convince you of the literal truth of these stories. It's only my job to testify honestly according to my recall and understanding. Growing up, most of my family members were Christians. Of my immediate family, none of these were Satanists or even aware of Satanism. But there was an older relative, a kind of family patriarch, who openly practiced Christianity but privately practiced Satanism. Also, there were some other more distant older relatives who were Satanists. Satanic secret societies are very secretive and careful about who they recruit. And for various reasons, they wanted me. However, ultimately, I came to reject Satanism and I escaped from it. Some readers may already be aware of the super wealthy satanic aristocracy. Many such readers seem to have a strong interest in cannibalism, blood drinking, and occult Satanism. Because of my personal experience and insider information, I'm able to shed some light on these subjects. Satanism is, for the most part, a secretive religion, but I can give you a peek behind the curtain. I'm a Christian, and I'm not trying to promote Satanism. I'm just trying to wake people up to the fact that Satanism is a large and well organized religion. I don't claim to be the ultimate authority on the subject, but I do have some unique insights. Not all Satanists practice cannibalism or blood drinking, and not all Satanists practice deviant sex. In fact, I would say that a majority of the Satanists reject such practices. Those Satanists who I would describe as high adept Satanists are the most powerful of all the Satanists. Some high adept practitioners may dabble in cannibalism or deviant sex because it amuses them, but they never use such practices as part of their religious rituals. The high adept Satanists are primarily concerned with psychic powers. Sex magic is the practice of using intense sexual experience to evoke the life force for occult purposes. We all know that the woman is a portal. I posted or reshared a reel from Taylor Durden talking about abortion and is abortion wrong. Not understanding that majority of women in their youth may get pregnant and decide to have an abortion, not understanding that your body is a gateway and you store that trauma up and you live a lifetime holding on to that trauma. Not only that, but you have to make amends with your ancestors on the other side that tried to come back through the portal, which is your gateway. All right. I know how that sounds. Some of you it may be foreign to some of you, and some of you may already know that. So their concern is the psychic powers. Sex magic is the practice of using intense sexual experiences to evoke the life force for occult purposes. Some Satanists add the letter K to the word magic to indicate that they aren't referring to a stage magic, but sex magic is a lesser discipline of the satanic occultism. Some Satanists are obsessed with sex magic, while others find it tedious. So not all Satanists are the same, but some Satanists do have certain things in common. For one, first, there is the rejection of Christianity. Secondly, all Satanists are very secretive. Even those who publicly profess the religion typically keep certain other facts about their practices from the public. And then, perhaps most importantly, most Satanists see their practices as a path to worldly power. Satanists who practice their religion openly are only a small minority of all the Satanists around the world, but with the promotion of the heavy metal music and other influences from the entertainment industry, Satanism has become more publicly accepted. Satanic symbols such as the goat's head, the inverted pentagram, and the dove skull are found quite commonly in popular culture. So more people every day are coming to realize that Satanism is larger and more powerful than the news media typically describes. But the real motivation to become a Satanist almost always has to do with the desire to achieve worldly power. If you pray to Yeshua, he may show you how to become a better person, how to be happier, or how to achieve serenity. But Christ isn't necessarily going to show you how to fulfill your worldly desires. Now, Satan, on the other hand, will promise you things like wealth, political power, lust fulfillment, and revenge against your enemies. Satan doesn't always come through with such promises. And when he does, the thing desired, once achieved, often does not bring joy. But Satanism is a path to worldly power, and that's a big part of its appeal. All right. There are those who believe that there are two terms, Satanists or Satanism and Luciferianism, and are not interchangeable. But this type of distinction is lost on the average person. Essentially, the names Lucifer and Satan both arise out of the same occult belief system, but there is a basis for distinguishing the two. Okay, the two terms. The name Lucifer can be associated with the planet Venus and the ancient goddess Ishtar, and it means light bearer or light bringer, like phosphorus. Okay, and then the name Satan can be associated with the planet Saturn and the ancient god Baal or Baal. Okay. And it's referenced with the black cube, Saturnalia, Saturday, those who circle the cube. I mean, there's a symbolism behind all of the religions that point to a certain esoteric knowledge. Let me just put it that way. I'm not going to get off task. Okay. So then it says the name Lucifer can be associated with the planet Venus and the ancient goddess Ishtar. The name Saturn can be associated with the planet Saturn. The name Satan can be associated with the planet Saturn and the ancient god Baal. Depending on what form of occultism is being practiced, one might use these terms Satan or Lucifer differently. But for our purposes here, I'm going to generally consider the two words refer to the same basic spiritual power. Okay. Energetic power. All right. A Satanist I once knew explained it to me this way. Satan and Lucifer are different entities, but they use the same telephone. If you call their number, either one could pick up. Luciferianisms take many different forms. Now, it's very important that you guys listen to what I'm saying. Okay. This is coming from Kurth, and you really need to listen to what I'm reading to you. All right. I'm going to say that one more time for the people in the back row. A Satanist I once knew explained it to me this way. Satan and Lucifer are different entities, and they are, but they use the same telephone. If you call their number, either one could pick up. Luciferianism takes many different forms. One, some Satanists are simply atheists who wish to give their rejection of Christianity a ritualistic structure. Two, some Satanists are really pagans who desire to return to the ways of pre-Christian nature worship. Three, some Luciferians identify their beliefs with the mystery schools of ancient Egypt, Greece, and Rome, which taught mysticism and hidden knowledge. I don't even see how he could put that in the same bucket, because if you learn about the esoteric knowledge and the mystery schools and whatnot, then you'll have a greater understanding of this realm that we live in and the different planes of existence and the energies that are within the planes of existence. Right. So I'm really shocked on that one. I'm just, wow. So, and then it says some Luciferians are high degree Freemasons who conceal their true philosophy from the lower ranked Masons and the public in general. All right, I'm going to say that one more time. Some Luciferians are high degree Freemasons who conceal their true philosophy from lower ranked Masons and the public in general. And then next, although most Gnostics do not believe in Lucifer, some Luciferians believe in a twisted form of Gnosticism, which rejects the material world and its creator as evil. They see Lucifer as the harbinger or the bringer of pure intellectual enlightenment. All right. And then this next, many Luciferians are really politically oriented, such as those in the Fabian Society who wish to create a global socialist civilization. In his book, New World Order, H.G. Wells gave an idealistic description of such a global government would be like. We already have a one world government, almost, so to speak, after the Reconstruction and the fall of Tartary, but it's going to be more control put in place. And we're going to have the world prince or world monarch that will come forth. Okay. Some Satanists are scientists, rationalists who see Satanism as a mechanism to reject the superstition of the traditional religions. Although they may not openly identify themselves as Satanists, the skeptics movement and the transhumanism has their roots in Satanism. I'm going to say that one more time for the people in the back row. Some Satanists are scientific rationalists who see Satanism as a mechanism to reject the superstition of traditional religion. Although they may not openly identify themselves as Satanists, the skeptics movement and the transhuman movement have their roots in Satanism. Thank you, big tech and big pharma. All right. The atheist rhetoric of the skeptics movement sounds similar to the doctrine of the atheist Satanism, and this is not a coincidence. The transhumanisms or humanists wish to use the computers, robots, and genetic engineering to create a new species that will displace humanity because they feel like we're all Goyim. But the ones who say that we're Goyim are actually the Goyim because it's in the Bible, and Chief Redwood broke it down a few days ago. All right. So transhumanists wish to use computers, robotics, and genetic engineering to create a new species that will displace humanity. Julian Huxley, who first founded the humanist movement, was a member of a Luciferian secret society. Some Luciferians are dedicated to the occult, such as the believers in Theosophy and the Order of the Golden Dawn. The word occult refers to hidden knowledge, all right? And it involves secret practices for utilizing psychic powers in ways that are unethical, all right? Some Luciferians wish to unify the world by creating a new globalist religion, which merges all religions into one. Does this sound kind of familiar with Agenda 2030? Does it sound familiar to y'all? This seems to be the goal of the Lucis Trust, which was originally called the Luciferian Publications and is now associated with the United Nations. I'm going to say that one more time for the people in the back row. Some Luciferians wish to unify the world by creating a new globalist religion, which merges all religions into one. This seems to be the goal of the Lucis Trust, which was originally called the Lucifer Publications and is now associated with the United Nations. Now, Luciferians, Lucis Trust, United Nations, Luciferase, which was placed in the what? The mRNA happy sauce injections. Do you find that funny? Do you find that ironic? Do you think that that was done intentionally? Of course it was done intentionally. Next, some Satanists seek to understand magical workings by which they can develop psychic powers to manipulate other people and events. The students of Aleister Crowley followed this path. Just as openly known religions have many different branches, the Luciferians have many different branches. The Unitarians, the Baptists, and the Catholics are all Christians, but all have very different beliefs and practices. And I'm here to tell you that I can't see who joined me. It looks like somebody's viewing, but I can't see. Hi. So I'm here to tell you that when you look at some of these religions at the very top, if you read this book, because I'm not going to read all of it to you because it's very graphic and it goes deep into sex trafficking, pedophilia, unaliving people, cannibalism. But I'm just reading the intro to you so you can understand. All right. This is happening at the top, you guys. It really is. And a lot of people will just dig their heads in the sand or bury their heads in the sand. But you got to understand something. Those people that you see in those higher echelon in governments and even in lower parts of corporations and in fraternities and sororities, they're all partaking in this stuff. And if you think that they're not, then you're delusional. And this is why he wrote this book. All right. He is a survivor of abuse. Okay. He is speaking up. He's not a leading authority, but he's simply explaining some things to you. This is his third book. Okay. And it's a very disturbing book, but I'm reading the intro so that some of you all will understand why the Epstein files, no one will get prosecuted from this stuff because they're all partaking in it. That's my point. Hey, cousin. So it says the same diversity is true for the Satanists. For example, the adherents to the teachings of Anton LaVey have very different beliefs and practices than the members of the Lucis Trust founded by Alice Bailey. However, some Satanists form criminal cults that indulge, here we go, in very dark practices. As I've said, most Satanists don't practice cannibalism or blood drinking and deviant sex, but this minority that does is very influential upon the international Luciferian community. The UN is tied to this. I just read to you that. The Lucis Trust. All of these major corporations around the world have these people that are in seats of power and in government. And even if they're not partaking in Satanism or Luciferianism, they are being blackmailed because some of them are kinky devils and they get compromised in positions to where they can be bought and they can be controlled. I mean, I'm just telling you. And if you think that it's not, they're not going to put that on TV. That's what I'm telling you. The more you watch TV, the dumber you get. You literally you're being programmed to think a certain way, to act a certain way, to dress a certain way, to believe certain things. I'm just telling you, coupled with the fact of them putting fluoride in the water. And if you're still drinking tap water, you're still cooking with tap water, you're still bathing with regular water, your skin is the largest organ on your body. You're taking in those chemicals that they're putting in the water. And if you think that it's good for your teeth, then you really are too far gone. I'm just telling you. I'm just being 100 with you. All right. So it says, as he said before, most Satanists don't practice cannibalism, blood drinking, and deviant sex. But this minority that does is very influential upon the international Luciferian community. The most financially powerful Satanists in the world are wealthy aristocrats who control vast resources. I can take a couple of them off the top of my head. Peter Thiel and Bill Gates, which I would state that they are Luciferians or Satanists, but I truly think that they're not human. They're actually reptilian. And that makes a whole lot of sense. All right. I'm just going to tell you that's just my humble opinion. Just my theory. You ain't got to rock with it. Okay. So it says they control a vast amount of resources. Like in where are they building those data centers at? Is it in California or is it in Las Vegas? I think it's in Nevada, where they're building so many data. No, it's in Louisiana because I posted the other day. It's in Louisiana. And Entergy has got a contract to come in and put in so much as far as power that they can build these data centers. And then when those data centers go in, people actually end up getting sick because they can't go to sleep and they're starting to have health problems. It's a hum. It takes up a lot of water. I'm just telling you, they're depleting the resources in this locale, in this plane of existence in America, because America is ground zero. America's a true world. They have to desecrate America for them to become what they want with this plane of existence to be. All right. I'm just going to tell you, it's all been foreplanned. All right. So it says the most dangerous of these criminal enforcers are Satanists who practice cannibalism and blood drinking. Okay. But even more powerful than the plutocrats and their criminal enforcers are the high adept Satanists. These are the occultists who use their psychic powers to manipulate people in order to control the events of the world. The word adapt refers to being skillful. The high adept Satanists are highly skillful at using psychic powers, and they use them in ways that harm others. Okay. Personally, I believe in religious freedom. So, although I do not object to the existence of Luciferianism, I do object to the secrecy. While only a minority of the Satanists practice cannibalism and blood drinking, these practices continue to exist because of the secrecy of all Satanists. All right. And you just, like he just said, he had family members that go to church, call themselves Christians, but they in secret practice Satanism. I'm just going to tell you, that blew my mind on that one. The time has come when that secrecy must end. Okay. Some Luciferians know that the time has come for more openness, yet they cannot speak openly because of the sacred oaths of secrecy that they have all taken. But even though I have personally known quite a few Satanists, I have never taken an oath of secrecy, so I am in no unique position to publicly talk about subjects which most Satanists are forbidden to reveal because of their religious duty. And I believe that there are some very powerful Satanists who actually want me to reveal the information. There have been many books written about Satanism, but this one is different than most. Some books of Satanists are quite academic, but this is not an academic analysis, okay? Nor is this some intellectual journalist endeavor. I am drawing from personal experiences and inside knowledge that has been shared with me. This is a personal testimony, okay, from Kurt Barker. All right. He's been on talk shows too. All right. So he says the globalist plutocratic Satanism is behind virtually every major problem in the troubled world. I'm going to say that one more time because I need for y'all to understand this. Y'all keep thinking it's one entity. It's multiple entities. Think of it as a race of beings. Okay. Globalist bureaucratic Satanism is behind virtually every major problem in this troubled world. You stand a better chance of surviving these difficult times if you understand the true nature of Satanism. And most people don't. That's why I'm reading this to you. Okay. This is true no matter what you believe, what your belief system is. The leaders of the Luciferian secret societies tend to deceive even their own followers. So even practicing Luciferians need insights into the nature of how the religion actually works. Blood drinking, cannibalism, and pedophiliac sex are only common, okay, among the minority of Satanists who run the secret criminal operations. However, these criminal Satanists enforce the desires of a global plutocracy. I believe that when more people understand the nature of the globalist plutocracy, they will come to oppose it. I will tell you something else that you might find peculiar. I believe that most Satanists, if they come to understand the true nature of the plutocratic globalism, they would also come to oppose it. This is because many of the wealthiest aristocrats who come from these families, which practice generational Satanism, now have plans to betray their fellow Satanists. You should not assume that a dragon is a friend to all other dragons. In fact, most dragons secretly hate their own fellow dragons, and as well they should, for there is no threat to a dragon greater than his or her fellow dragons. His or her fellow dragons. Let me get it out. In order for the book to make sense to you, I need to tell you a little bit about my own story. I have described the story in detail in my first book, Angelic Defenders and Demonic Abusers, Memoirs of a Satanic Ritual Abuse Survivor. But let me briefly recap the story now, all right? And he says, as a child, I was subjected to satanic ritual abuse. As I said before, although the members of my immediate family were not Satanists and knew nothing of Satanism, an older family patriarch was a well-connected Satanist within his family, all right? And it says, a former Nazi who my family called Shotzi was a nanny and a babysitter to me. She had been introduced to my nuclear family by the family patriarch. A Nazi war criminal, she had been brought over to the U.S. by the CIA under the umbrella of Operation Paperclip, aka Werner von Braun's group, NASA, the foundation of that. All right. So she was given a new identity, a denazified identity, and she was trained in the form of MK Ultra mind control by the CIA. She attempted to use MK Ultra methods on me, but was unsuccessful. So another Satanist who was an associate of my family's patriarch used other methods. His name was Bob, and he used a combination of techniques, including hypnotism. I was trained and conditioned to have two personalities. When I was with my Christian family, I was called by my name Curse. When I was involved with the Luciferian secret societies, I was known as Kathy. All right. These were really two different lifestyles and two cultures. I had two different personalities, each of which fit into these two different cultures. But the Christian culture knew nothing of the Luciferian culture, and the Luciferian culture knew everything about the Christians. Oh my God. That's crazy. The name we used for the secret culture of Satanism was the Society of Lucifer. All right. So although I wasn't an initiated member of any specific secret society, I was a participant in the General Society of Lucifer. Both the patriarch and Bob worked for a man nicknamed the Baron. He was the head of a secret criminal syndicate. I'm going to say that one more time. His name was the Baron, and he was the head of a secret criminal syndicate. Among others, the Baron ran a pedophile sex ring. Or pedophile sex ring. He used child prostitutes to secretly film performing men. He used child prostitutes to secretly film powerful men performing acts of pedophilia. These films were then sold for blackmail purposes. In my identity as Kathy, I was trained and used as a child prostitute. I was also forced to star in child porno films. The Baron worked for an organization known as the Committee, which was located somewhere in Europe. All right. And he says, apparently the Committee organizes various Luciferian groups for the benefit of the Illuminati, which is the most powerful Luciferian secret society in the world. The goal of the Illuminati is the eventual creation of an all-powerful global government. Eventually, I broke free from the satanic influences. With help, I was deprogrammed. Then I became involved with persons resisting and opposing the Illuminati in various ways. However, this particular movement was violently crushed by the Committee. I survived by the grace of God, and over a period of decades, I was able to heal my mental and spiritual scars. Eventually, when I became older, I began to appear on the radio and on webcasts, where I talked about my experiences with Satanism. Okay. I have posted many articles on the internet as well. For a time, I worked with persons outside the Illuminati in covert groups that opposed it. Also, persons within the Illuminati system who have become disillusioned with it have shared with me some insider information. I put this information on the internet and in books. Friends encouraged me to write my first book, which tells my story as a memoir. The second book was written as a response to the feedback from the first book. And then certain subjects that I thought the readers might find disturbing, I withheld from the first book. But feedback given to me by the readers encouraged me to write a book that exposes everything. This is that book. I didn't write this to horrify you. I'm going to say it one more time. He's saying he didn't write this book to horrify anybody. All right. He says, I wrote this to show you how challenging it will be to reform society. Okay. While everybody's walking around saying, oh, I'm going to pray and we'll have this rapture. We're going to get caught up in the third heaven. And, this world is going to be peaceful and this, that, and the other. You got to understand what you're dealing with here. It's overran with stuff. So it's going to have to be another reset. And a lot of people are going to have to go, including these powerful people that are underground in these cities, thinking they're going to get away with this stuff. It's not going to happen like that. They're going to wish they never, ever came into this existence and partook in this stuff. I'm just telling you. So he says, also, I wrote this to give you hope that these horrors can be ended. All right. But first you must see them before you can end them. Read on if you dare. And that's where I'm going to stop because I'm not going to read anything else. I just wanted you guys to understand that this book is highly disturbing. I'm going to tell you, it goes into detail on some things and some stories. And I'm just like, this is the book. And I'm just here to tell you that you have to have a strong stomach and a strong foundation in the word. I'm just going to tell you. Why do I read this book? Because I want to know. I want to know what is really going on. Like, I've pieced it together and I understand some things. I meditate, I fast and I pray, meditate, fast, pray. But those things come to me, but I realize there are still certain puzzle pieces that I haven't quite fit together yet. Like, I've got the puzzle in front of me and I got everything on the table and I'm putting everything together, but there are still some pieces that are missing, if that makes sense. So for me, this is more knowledge to put in my wheelhouse of knowledge, right? And my more tools to put in my tool belt. So, I just want to come out here and read this intro from the author. The things that they did to this boy, made him dress up like a girl with a training bra and jock strap on and lipstick and paint his nails and, pleasuring high politicians and police commissioners and chiefs and things like that. Very disturbing. And yet you wonder why sex trafficking is so bad, because you have it all throughout these organizations in law enforcement, FBI, CIA. You got some very high level people that are just damn right down corrupt. And they may have some very good, wholesome, religious people working under them who really live their life the correct way and they're righteous. And they have no idea what they're involved in as far as who they're working for, right? And I mean, I understand some of you are gonna say, "Oh, that's sensational." No, it's not sensationalism. This man was sex trafficked, he was abused, he was in child porn, and he was in pedophilia. And my thing is he's a victim, and so he's speaking out about his abuse. And my thing is a lot more people need to understand that we are surrounded by this. We're overrun with this shit at this point. And I mean, you really can't trust any of these organizations. CPS is a perfect cover for child trafficking and pedophilia. I'm just telling you. I've been seeing videos on social media over the last week where even police officers are coming on and saying, look, they're trying to grab men and women, people who look healthy. The first thing they do when you're coming out of the store, they've already cased you. They're looking at you and they're casing you, and they're going to get you if they want you. And you just really need to be aware and keep your head in the swivel and know that you need to keep your head in the swivel and know that these people are out here walking. And some of them, or what you want to call demonic or lower vibrational beings or entities that have been hijacked. Some of them are real reptilians, a parasite that comes through your eye. I'm just telling you, that's where that black mark comes from, the Black Eye Club. Well, you want to know what's going on with all these Hollywood people and why they're looking the way they are? Because they've been taken over. That's why. They told you in They Clone Tyrone what they do. I'm just telling you. And people think that's Hollywood. But, my thing is, if you really understand that they put these things in movies and they can't come out and basically say it outright, right? They're going to put it in the movie as a fiction and more people are going to see it and go, oh, okay. And they're going to subliminally understand it and accept it and then move on and go, okay, well, that's TV. You see what I'm saying? That's how they get you. So they can't come out and tell you everything is true. And, they'll present it as fiction or they'll present it as nonfiction or fiction and let the person decide who's viewing it, whether it's a book or a movie. Just like I had someone tell me that this was fictional. Claudio Naselli's work was fictional. Look, I'm not here to argue with anybody. I'm only sharing the information with a few people that are intelligent enough to go do the research. And I'm not saying just because you don't research, you're not intelligent. I'm simply saying, if you want to learn what this plane of existence is and who's running it, then you've got to do your research. You just can't just listen to people. You've really got to go pick up the book. You really got to go search different tools, and you've really got to understand the basis of what we're dealing with. This is a good source of information to tell you what transpired back then and how we've gotten to this point. That's all I'm gonna tell you. So anyway, I appreciate you guys for joining me. Looks like my cousin's gone. So whoever else sees this video, I hope this has been informative to you. When I come back, I'm going to be reading over Claudio's work, and then we're going to jump right back into the Book of Enoch, and I'm going to share that on screen, and we're going to read through that, and we're going to get through that, right? So anyway, I hope you guys have an amazing night. Remember what I always say, you be the change you want to see all around this earthdom, because it's up to you and I to make a positive change. You got to understand, this is why the Epstein files are not going to move forward. They're not going to do anything. They release the files as a distraction and to get people to shut up, but they're not going to prosecute anybody. Pam Bundy told you that. They're not going to pursue it. And then I think Melania Trump came out and released a statement. I saw something really quick on the TV, but you know, I don't really watch the news, but I was flicking channel and I saw her standing there, and the tickler across the bottom of the screen was saying that she released a speech and she wanted people to stop using her name in association with Epstein. That's all I know. But my thing is they're all in cahoots with this stuff, because they all are in this wealthy club. They're in this club that we aren't in and we're not invited in, right? So you have to understand that it's us against them. And, you know, the race baiting before the 1700s, we didn't have anything that was called black and white. We didn't call each other that, right? This was created. This was created as a form of division and separation to keep us divided. A house divided cannot stand strong together. And this is exactly what we're dealing with right now. Okay. So anyway, you guys have an amazing night, and I will be back with you soon. Bye.